They say that age is just a number. But let's look at what happens when you cross 50. Retirement starts weighing on your mind. Your children are growing up or on the verge of being well settled. You look forward to living off your pension or savings. You want to travel, meet friends, and play with your grandchildren. You want to take it easy. But when you were younger, did you ever feel like starting up? Back then, maybe you couldn't start up as you had to manage several responsibilities, and your dream of starting up, well, just remained a dream. What if you could start up after turning 50? Sounds crazy? After all, starting up seems to be the norm for those in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s. What if I share stories of 4 individuals who started up after turning 50? In fact, 3 of them started in their 60s, and each of them created a world-class company. Would you like to know more about them? The first person is someone who never had it easy. Life kept throwing challenges at him. He lost his father when he was 6. His mother was forced to take up different jobs and was away for days together. As a young boy, this person had to cook and care for his younger siblings. When he turned 12, he dropped out of school and started working in a farm. Later, he worked in the US Army and then explored several jobs, including being a streetcar conductor, a railroad fireman, an insurance salesman, a secretary, a tire salesman, a ferry operator, and even a lawyer. His first marriage crumbled and his son passed away. But he didn't lose hope. The cooking skills that he had acquired as a young boy were useful. He began running a gas station in Corbin, Kentucky. He would prepare pan-fried chicken, ham, string beans, okra, and hot biscuits for weary travelers. This helped build his reputation as a skillful chef. Over time, he set up his first restaurant and perfected his recipe for cooking chicken in a pressure cooker with the right kind of spices. It reduced grease, increased flavor, moisture, and texture without sacrificing cooking time. For almost a decade, his restaurant prospered. Unfortunately, due to events beyond his control, he had to shut down his restaurant at a loss. He had no income and had to survive on a social security check of just $105. Instead of getting deterred, he became determined. Imagine traveling in a run-down car with your spouse when both of you are old and going door to door to sell something. That is what this person did. He traveled across the US with his wife. He visited potential franchisee restaurants and offered them his chicken recipe in return for 4 cents on every chicken sold. It wasn't an easy life. He would always be on the move and look out for suitable restaurants. If he found one, he would convince the restaurant owner to let him cook chicken for the restaurant's employees. If they approved, he would then cook chicken for the restaurant's customers for a few days. If the customers enjoyed the chicken, the restaurant would begin franchising for him. It was a slow, expensive, and humiliating way of getting business. But guess what? This worked. So who was this man? It was Colonel Sanders. Sanders earned his first million at the age of 65. By the mid-60s, Sanders had franchised over 600 outlets and built a company worth millions. He continued to work as the company's public representative. He later sold KFC for $2 million to an investment group and then started another restaurant called Claudia Sanders Dinner House. He passed away at the age of 90. Now, let us look at the second person. He was born in the northwest frontier province of Pakistan on 12th November 1942 to an army family. By the time he was 12, he had studied in 12 schools. He was a bright student. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that he cleared Inter Science at the famed La Martiniere in Lucknow and received Bachelor of Electronics degree from IIT Roorkee in 1964. He enjoyed an all-round student life and participated in sports, theatre, debating, and other extracurricular events. From 1965 till 1984, he worked with the Shriram Group of Industries. During his last year with the Shriram Group, he was computerizing the firm. Post that, he took a sabbatical and wanted to meet his friends from IIT Roorkee. One of his friends knew that Azim Premji required a leader for Wipro. Back then, Wipro was evolving from a manufacturer of vegetable and refined oils to being a conglomerate with IT being its growth driver. Although this person didn't want to take up the offer, Azim Premji convinced him over a 12-hour-long discussion, and that is how Ashok Suta, the second person in our list, was appointed as the president of Wipro. He built the foundation of the company that made Wipro into a software giant. In a span of 15 years, Wipro's revenue scaled from $2 million to $500 million. At 57, when most people are planning to retire, Mr. Suta founded Mindtree with 9 other colleagues from Wipro. In 2007, they successfully took Mindtree public. The Mindtree IPO witnessed a bumper subscription of over 100 times. He then left Mindtree and started Happiest Minds. Between 2017 and 2020, the revenue growth of Happiest Minds was approximately 20% as compared to 8 to 10% for the industry. The company was earning 97% of its revenues from digital businesses, unlike other big players in the Indian IT industry. Mr. Suta was so confident about his business that he took Happiest Minds public during the pandemic. But he didn't stop there. In April 2021, he launched Scientific Knowledge for Aging and Neurological Ailments, SCAN, a non-profit organization focused on medical research related to aging and neurological disorders. Now we come to the third person. He was born in a small village in Kannur, in God's own country, Kerala. This gentleman was very enterprising from a young age. When the Maharaja of Chirakkal visited his school, he wrote and recited a poem in the Maharaja's honor. The poem impressed the Maharaja and he awarded the young boy a scholarship. This helped the young boy complete his education. He also participated in India's independence movement as a teenager and joined the Indian Army. He attained the rank of captain in the Maratha Light Infantry and took early retirement from the Indian Army in 1952. After resigning, he took over his father-in-law's garment business and ran it successfully. He introduced the bleeding Madras fabric to America and made millions when demand for this fabric exploded. He also helped establish the All India Handloom Board. As a part of this board, he would market hand-spun Indian yarn in the US and Europe. While traveling to multiple countries in the Western world, he received exposure to international hotels such as Adeline Kempinski, Dorchester Savoy, and Waldorf Astoria. As time passed, he felt strongly about opening a hotel offering luxury that is on par with international hotels. In the late 80s, a new international airport was being constructed in Sahar, Andheri East. This dynamic entrepreneur from Kerala was in his early 60s, but he decided to fulfill his dream by constructing an opulent hotel on a vacant 4-acre plot close to his house in Andheri. When it opened in 1987, it emerged as the only worthy rival to the legendary Taj Mahal Palace and Towers in Colaba. This hotel was named Leela Kempinski due to a brand tie-up with the Geneva-based Kempinski Hotels. By now, you would have also guessed the name of the person that we are talking about, Captain Chittarath Puakat Krishnan Nair. For the next 27 years, the Leela Group under Captain Nair expanded to 7 more locations across India, including Delhi, Bengaluru, Kovalam, Udaipur and Chennai, without compromising on service quality. Mr. Nair passed away on 17th May 2014. A few years later, his family sold the hotel properties and operations, except the Mumbai one, to Canada-based Brookfield Asset Management Inc. for 3,950 crores. Finally, we speak about the fourth person. Earlier, an Indian could buy a house only after retirement by getting provident fund or gratuity from the employer. But one man not only dared to challenge this convention but also changed it. He graduated from the London School of Economics in the mid-1930s with a bachelor's degree in banking and finance. Soon he returned to India and started working with the stockbroking firm Harkisan Das Lukmi Das. He also taught at St. Xavier's College in Mumbai for about 3 years. Over the next couple of decades, this person worked in the brokerage. But in 1956, he joined the newly set up Development Finance Institution ICICI as its Deputy General Manager. ICICI was one of the earliest institutions sponsored by the World Bank in cooperation with the Government of India and the US government. This gentleman became the company's chairman in 1972 and held this post until 1978. Throughout his career, this man wondered, why couldn't Indians buy homes much before retirement? He had tried to approach the government to set up a housing finance company that could lend at affordable interest rates, but he couldn't get a positive response. Finally, after leaving ICICI, he decided to set up an organization that has today become India's second largest company, HDFC Limited. Yes friends, we are talking about Hasmukh Bhai Parikh. He founded HDFC Limited with a share capital of 10 crore rupees. Till HDFC came along, you could take a home loan only from LIC. Just after HDFC Limited was started, Hasmukh Bhai's nephew Deepak Parikh, who was working with Chase Manhattan, joined the company with a 50% salary cut as a deputy general manager. Back then, there wasn't any regulator for the space. During the 1980s, HDFC had successfully tapped long-term international funding from the World Bank, which was guaranteed by the Government of India. They also availed funding from the International Finance Corporation and the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. There are many who can vouch for the professionalism of HDFC Limited when they availed of a home loan in the late 1980s. Even the legendary N.R. Narayana Murthy bought his first house in Mumbai for 70,000 rupees by getting a housing loan from HDFC Limited that was granted only on the basis of the appointment letter. Hasmukh Bhai's contribution was not just limited to expanding ICICI and founding HDFC Limited. He was also instrumental in the inception of some renowned names in the housing finance space, including Grah Finance, Housing Promotion and Finance Corporation, which is now SBI Home Finance, and Canfin Homes that was promoted with UTI and Canara Bank. When HDFC Limited wanted to list in the markets, Hasmukh Bhai's nephew Deepak Parikh met the chairman of UTI as it was the only equity mutual fund in India. However, UTI didn't invest in HDFC Limited's IPO as it felt the lending business that targeted middle-class households was too risky. It wasn't surprising that HDFC Limited IPO flopped and the stock traded at 20% discount to its issue price. However, 5 years later, UTI became a prominent shareholder in HDFC Limited, looking at the latter's success in the mortgage lending space. On a lighter note, market participants referred to HDFC as Hasmukh Bhai Deepak Bhai Financial Corporation. HDFC Bank was founded in August 1994 as a subsidiary of HDFC Limited, and the rest is history. Hasmukh Bhai passed away on 18th November 1994. He left a legacy that not only empowered millions of Indians, but also chartered a path that showed how Indian businesses could become institutions. Apart from these 4 individuals, there are many more who started up much later in life, including Ariana Huffington, the founder of the Huffington Post, Falguni Nair, who started Nykaa, and Kamesh Goyal, who began Digit Insurance. According to an article published in the Harvard Business Review, the average age of a successful startup founder is 45. So if you're passionate about starting a company and haven't been able to start up in your 20s, 30s or even 40s, don't worry, you still have a lot of time. Did you like this video? Then please do let us know. क्या आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आया? तो फिर ऐसे इन्फॉर्मेटिव और इंटरेस्टिंग वीडियोस देखने के लिए इन्फॉर्म्ड इन्वेस्टर ऐप डाउनलोड करें।